errors. So algorithm, we'll see first definition of an algorithm. Algorithm is an finite sequence of instructions, or we can call it as finite set of instructions. Both are equal. Set of instructions or sequence of instructions, both are comes under same meaning. Set is nothing but it is a group of instructions. Why? Because we can't give only the single instructions to our system to generate the output. So we are going to give the set of instructions to the computer. It is going to handle that set of instructions. Why we are calling it as finite sequence of instructions? Means it is a limit. That means finite is nothing but there is some fixed size of sequence of instructions are present in an algorithm. So algorithm is an finite sequence of instructions or set of instructions. Algorithm is an step-by-step procedure. So why we are calling it as step-by-step procedure means whatever the algorithm we are writing, those process will be handled in the step-by-step procedure. That means when you are writing any programming in the C language, first it will be handled by the first one. So next it is going to check the second line of the instruction. Next it is going to check the third line of instructions. In this way, similarly, all the set of instructions are being checked. So we are calling it as step by step procedure for checking each and every line clearly in the algorithm. So whatever we are writing, those set of instructions will be handled by the algorithm concept. So we will see the next concept. This is an overall definition of an algorithm. Next we will see the characteristics of algorithm. Characteristics of algorithm. First characteristics is algorithm is an unambiguous. What is unambiguous? Unambiguous means whatever the algorithm we are writing, it should be clear. Algorithm what is we are writing, it should be clear and it should not contain any duplicate information. That is nothing but one step should not be repeated twice and thrice. That is nothing but unambiguous. It should be whatever the algorithm we are writing, that algorithm should be clear to be understand. They should not contain any duplicate or replicant data of the steps. So steps which we are writing, they should not contain any other information. Next characteristic we are going to see is input. What is input is an characteristics of algorithm is in the input we have to give at least 0 or 1. Minimum we have to give 0 or more than well defined inputs. 0 and more inputs should be given to the algorithm. Why we are telling that we have to give 0 and more input means without the input we can't process any output function. Whenever we are giving the input function only, we will get the particular output function. So that's why in this algorithm concept we have to give 0 or more inputs to the input, then only it can process the output. So third characteristics is output. So similar way we are giving the inputs, it is going to give the output. So in this output the algorithm can generate one or more well defined outputs. So output, at least we will get one output. In the algorithms, at least If we'll give 1 or 0 or more inputs, at least we will get one output or more also. We can get more outputs also, no problem, but at least we are getting at least one output in this algorithm. Coming to the next characteristics, that is finiteness. What is finiteness? Finiteness means it should be, so in this algorithm definition we have said that algorithm is a finite sequence of instructions. So finite is nothing but it should be completed in a number of possible steps. That is nothing but finiteness. So what is the finiteness means? It should be, that is, it is nothing but algorithm should be terminated in a number of possible steps. Terminate after a finite number of steps. So surely it has to be terminated after completing of its number of steps. So that is nothing but finiteness. So coming to the next characteristics, that one, fifth one, that is independent. So we all know that algorithm is an step-by-step procedure. Algorithm is a step-by-step procedure. It has a directions where it has to be develop the programming. So it is not dependent on any other programming code. Algorithm will be independent. It is not dependent on any other programming language. It is not dependent on programming languages, programming code. So it is not depending on the programming code. That's why one of the characteristics is independent for the algorithm. Next topic we are going to see is steps involved in the algorithm development. To develop any algorithm, what are the steps that are necessary to be followed while writing the algorithm will be seen in these steps. So first step is obtain detailed information on the problem. So to write any program or to write any algorithm, first what we have to do, first we have to gather the information on that particular problem which we are writing. So first, whatever the algorithm or problem we are going to define, complete information on the problem should be gathered first to write any problem. So coming to the step 2 is analyze the problem. So analyzing the problem is whatever the gathered information is there, that information should be analyzed in the step 2. Why we are analyzing here means whatever the gathered information we are gathering, that will be, sometimes it will be right or sometimes it will be wrong. So we are not having any information on that particular problem. So just we are gathering the information on the step 1. So to check whether it is in the form of generating a valid output or not, to check that conditions we have to analyze the problem first in the step 2. Next step we are going to see is, that is step 3, think of a problem solving approach. So after gathering the information, step 2 is analyzing the problem. After analyzing means after checking whether we are generating valid output or not, the next is third step we are going to check, or we have to think of the problem solving approach. Means we have to think in such a manner that whether we are getting a good output while we are writing this algorithm or not. We have to build a model to solve the given problem. So what is the layout we are getting for any problem to be defined? Those think of the problem solving approach should be defined in the step 3. Coming to the step 4, review the problem and try to think of better alternative. So in the step 4, whatever the problem we are thinking, we have to review on the problem. Review is nothing but once again we are going to check that algorithm whether it is going to generate the valid output or not. We have to review the problem which we have written. So review the problem. After reviewing the problem, we have to try to think of better alternatives also. We have to think in such a manner that if we are writing the problem in one statement, so we have to think for the alternate method also better. So we have written one statement in one programming code and we have written one of the code. So while we are writing any programs or algorithm, we will be having different number of approaches to write any algorithm. So we have to think for the better alternative, which is very better, means what if we are getting the valid good output, that will be the better approach for our problem. So we have to think in such a manner that if we are having any other better alternatives, we have to go for that alternatives only, so that we can get the good output and we can get the highly qualified algorithm. Next step is step 5. In the step 5, develop a basic structure of algorithm. So in the step 5, after reviewing the problem and we are trying for the better alternative, if it is better alternative is found, it is okay. If not, whatever the algorithm we have developed, that is okay. Next, in the step 5, we have to develop a basic structure of algorithm, means how to write an algorithm, that basic structure. So not the complete structure of the algorithm, just for an rough work to identify our algorithm will be working in such a manner. So we have to analyze that. For the basic structure we have to define for the algorithm, so that if we are having any errors, we can rectify in this step 5 only. Coming to the next step, last step, that is step 6. In this step 6, we are going to optimize, improve and refine. So after developing an algorithm, if we are going for increased readability and accessibility, then we have to go with this step 6. That is nothing but optimize, improve and refine. If we are having any improved methods, means after writing the complete algorithm also, we have to check whether we can write in an another alternative way, so that our algorithm will be good improving and it should be well understood by any other user. So we have to check in such a manner that it will be understandable for everyone. Whatever the algorithm we are writing, it should be easy and it should be understandable for everyone. Then only these all steps we are writing, it will be value for that 6 steps. Why we are writing this all these steps is to understand the algorithm clearly. So to write any C programming languages, first we need to write the algorithm first, then only we can write the programming part. So we have seen the definition of algorithm and the steps involved in the algorithm development. So in this, after finishing this, we will see simple programs, some of the simple programs, how to write an algorithm. So what is the process? We have seen some of the steps here. So to write any algorithm, what is the procedure we have to follow, we will see. We'll see a small example in an algorithm concept, that is addition of two numbers. So when you want to add two numbers, what is the format of algorithm you have to write? I'll explain in detail. So in the step 1, while you're starting an algorithm, first in the step 1 you have to write like this. First step is start. Come to the second step. Here you have to read the inputs for the two numbers. So we are giving the addition for two numbers. So for the two numbers we have to read that inputs. Read, I am taking here two numbers as A and B I am considering. Read A comma B. Next, go to the next step, that is step 3. In the step 3 I am writing. Next, after reading the A and B values, next we have to write the condition for the addition. So for the addition you have to write C equal to A plus B. Here A and B values are added together, and whatever the result we are adding, we are coming from the A plus B, that will be stored in an C. Okay. Next, coming to step 4. After storing the A plus B values after addition, it will be stored in the C. This C value we have to print now. To get the result of the addition of two numbers, we have to print this C value. So simply you have to write this print C, or you can write display C. So both conditions you can use. You can use print C as well as display C. You can use both. After printing the C value, and the last statement, step 5, is you have to stop the algorithm here. Okay. So this is a simple example how to add two numbers. First you have to, in the step 1 you have to start with the start. Next you have to read the variables for the addition, and next in the step 3 you have to write the code, that is C equal to A plus B. After getting the result of addition, it will be stored in the C variable. So this C variable we have to print in the next step. For the printing I have written print C, or you can also use display C also. And in the last step I have been stopped the total algorithm process. So this is the format how you have to write the algorithms.